I'm reading today from Your Book as Your Business Card, Chapter 9. It's the last chapter in the book. Let's get started. Chapter 9. Let's get started. Over the years, I've written a sizable handful of books. Some have done well and some not so well, but none has been as valuable as the book Let Go of the Ring, which we give away for free. There are more copies of that book in print than of any of the other books that I wrote. I'm really not a best-selling author. But the real value of the book has been its ability to align our congregation and our movement to our mission. I said this earlier, but it's worth repeating here. I wish I had read the book that you're holding in your hands before I planted the first church. Life would have been easier, and we would have accomplished a great deal more than we did. Confidence and insecurity. Having said all that, I need to admit that I begin every writing project with a mixture of confidence and low self-esteem. I referenced this in the first chapter, but want to add some detail here. I'm self-confident enough to believe that I have something to say and that you need to hear it. Sometimes this confidence feels akin to arrogance. I want to be in your face and provocative. But is it really arrogance or just a sense of calling? I'm never totally sure. I do know that pride is sometimes part of the equation, and it's a bad part. As to the low self-esteem, I'm always battling against the feeling that no one, including you, dear reader, would want to read the trash that I put out. The truth is that the first draft is trash, but I'm the only one who ever sees it, and you're the only one who's ever going to see yours. You get the edited version of what I went through 15 times. The same holds for you. No eyes but yours will ever see the junk that falls out of your laptop on that first rodeo. You probably feel a measure of self-loathing when you read your first couple of passes through the book. I do. But then when comes after the magic of editing, the book begins to take shape and become something. Remember my mention of Elmer Towns in the dedication? It was his advice about 15 edits that made me readable as an author. So get ready to battle the twin demons of arrogance and insecurity, because I promise you, they'll sit next to you while you pour your thoughts into your computer. While that battle rages, just remember that your church needs your book. It is not a self-aggrandizing undertaking, but a tool to aid in effective ministry. Essential elements. Every book has certain elements that you cannot ignore. There are just a few of them, but you need to include each one. Front matter. Amazon will give you an ISBN number, so do not bother purchasing one elsewhere. You can spend $150 to get an ISBN number, but Amazon will give you one for free. You probably want to add a dedication to someone who helped you on your journey. It honors them and adds context to readers trying to figure you out. Beyond that, I wouldn't add much, certainly not a lot of endorsements if you plan to sell your volume as a Kindle ebook, because it clogs the front end of the book and makes it harder for people to download a sample copy. If all they see when they download that first 10% of the book is a bunch of endorsements, they never really get to see what you wrote. Or if you're going to include endorsements on the Kindle edition, put them at the back of the book rather than the front. You do want and you need reviews, but you want them posted on Amazon.com, not in the first 10% of your slim book. And by the way, if you get people to review your book, make sure that they are people who downloaded it, paid for it, and bought it, because those reviews are much more powerful on the Amazon website than people who just popped up there and wrote a review. This is a difficulty when you're giving the book away for free. So having an unpaid review is still worth something. But if you can get paid reviews, it's worth a lot more. So be thinking about that. Why should you read this book? Well, that's just another way of saying introduction. I never can get over the fact that people put that word up, introduction, when what you're really trying to do is tell them why they should read the book. So why not title the introduction, why you should read this book? Instead of a dull term, why not give your readers a little more incentive to get into your book? People respond to recommendations, so rephrase the introduction to gain a different advantage. And you don't need to use my words, why you should read this book. There are probably a lot of other phrases that come to you. I'm writing new books, and I'm coming up with different ways of saying, why should you read this book? But I'm really saying the same thing. A hook. A hook is a story or an illustration designed to grab people's attention as they look at the first few pages of your book. I placed my hook about my friend Ryan before why you should read this book. A little unusual to put that before what is essentially an introduction, but it draws people, it probably drew you into this book. In the case of the book you write, there should be two hooks. A, the story or illustration at the beginning, and B, photographs of yourself, your family, and the people at least in your core team, if not your church members. My book, Let Go of the Ring, is now in its 7th edition because we keep updating it as time goes on. And there are more pictures of more of our heroes to put into the book. And it's been a super blessing as a hero making tool, as well as a history tool for the people in our church. Remember, your people would like to see pictures of you growing up. Once they see how silly you looked once upon a time, they'll grow interested in the rest of the book, especially if the first 3 pages grab them by the throat. The most important chapters. We've gone over a lot of this before, but I want to repeat it here because now you should be thinking about the book that you want to write. Tell your own story because your people want to get to know you. That's a chapter or 2 or 3. Describe how God called you into pastoral ministry. Another chapter. Even clue them in on any resistance on your part. Identify the struggles you've overcome in your personal history and even in your marriage. Still another chapter. Did you chase your wife for a long time before she said yes? If so, tell that story. Was there a strong miracle in an answer to prayer? People want to know about that. Lay out your values, your purpose, your mission, your strategy, and long-term goals so people will know whether this is a church for them or not. Now, several chapters right there. And again, I would put them after I put some stuff about myself because human interest, people are interested in you before they're interested in what you believe in and where you're trying to take them. So these kind of chapters are the non-negotiables that form the foundation of your future. The chapters should show the benefits that your church provides to your members, to your community, and to the world as you poke into the alleyways where the Great Commission takes you. You got to lean on the benefits. You're going to gain purpose in your life. You're going to gain meaning in your life. This church is going to equip you to do this. We together are going to accomplish. And so you're telling people there's a value proposition here, and I'm offering you something as I have written this book. Summary thoughts. Every book needs a conclusion, including this one. I hope I have convinced you that you need to write a book for the people who form your congregation and those who leave it to plant others. If I did my job, you'll understand that such a book helps establish your position as a leader in the church and brings stability to the life of your members. You don't want to swing at every pitch, every idea that comes down the pipe, but you do need to take a cut at everything that you know comes from God. By now, you should understand that writing your book is not that big of a deal, but just about anyone can do it if they put their mind to it. You should also realize that Amazon is your friend. Their tools are free and make small volume publishing a reality that was impossible just a dozen years ago. If you need further help in assembling ideas and publishing a book, both in paperback and as an ebook, then you can find that at my book, You Could Write for Amazon. It's there on the site along with all the other books I've written. It covers everything from gathering data to the importance of outlining to learning to write with speed and why editing is key to an enjoyable read. It also takes you through Amazon's formatting and publishing processes in a step-by-step manner, simplifying them so that you don't have to struggle the way I did when I first began using them. You'll learn why you should publish the paperback version first, followed by an ebook, and why you should never accept Amazon's offer to create an ebook for you. They'll charge you for it. You can do it for free. I'll even teach you how to market your work using Amazon's free tools for marketing. Remember, good writing is simply about telling the truth. Forget creativity for a moment and realize that your project will move ahead through your persistence and the fire in your belly. Call to action. Finally, your book should ask people to get involved in the ministry of your church. It should map a clear path of discipleship that moves from not quite knowing if you want to follow Jesus Christ all the way to the possibility of planting a church. I used to stand at the door of the church and try to assess people as they walked in and go, could I get that person all the way to Japan as a missionary? Because that was our secondary mission field while we were in both California and Hawaii. And I obviously almost nobody is going to go to Japan. We probably sent 7 people there as missionaries over my whole life in ministry. But it gave me kind of a goal. Can I get this person to go that far? Well, I can't get them to go that far, but I could get them to go this far. Maybe they could plant a church. Well, maybe they couldn't plant a church, but maybe they could lead a micro church inside of our congregation. Well, maybe they couldn't lead that, but they could help out in a children's church class. So I'm always looking at everybody on what I call a disciple making continuum. How can I take them from here to there? I look at also use those same words, disciple making continuum, for how do I relate what we're doing on the weekend to what goes on in small groups during the middle of the week? How does the micro church build its content around what was taught from the pulpit on the weekend? I see churches where they try to do small groups and it's popcorn. They're all over the place and watching videos and doing somebody's Bible study and whatever. Why not enhance the work of the pastor? Because you put a lot of work into whatever you're teaching by asking them to just talk about it. And, I've, in every book I've written, I outline 3 questions that we ask, and there's really a 4th that I never asked. But those questions are simple. What did the Holy Spirit speak to you while the pastor was talking on the weekend? This is really strongly emphasized in Let Go of the Ring. So you're teaching people to listen to the Spirit rather than listen to the pastor. What are you going to do because of what the Spirit said to you? Well, now they're self-confessing an aspiration, at least, toward obedience, and we're moving people toward obeying the Lord. The 3rd question is, how can we help you? And as soon as we begin to ask that question, we begin to see spiritual gifts emerge in our church because the members of the microchurch gather around and it becomes apparent who's gifted at what. And the 4th question, which we never ask, but now I would include, is who else should you tell what you just told us? And so what you're doing is you're taking what was going on the weekend and you bring it into the lives of the people to where they're having to actually engage it, do something with it. And then you're taking it further as you're asking them, who else should you tell? And then next week when you get together, you're going to say stuff like, hey, I heard you're going to go tell such and such, whatever. And they do. And so you're taking what was preached from the pulpit, you're incorporating it in the lives of faithful people who are able to teach others also. It's a continuum that works. So here's my call to action. If you found this book helpful, please go immediately to Amazon and leave a short review. Be honest, not everything about the book is wonderful. Reviews on Amazon like yours are gold to an author like me. People seldom purchase anything on Amazon without checking the reviews. It'll be a huge favor to someone who set out to write this short volume as a favor for you. After Amazon, you could post something in social media linking back to the book. Again, I'd be blessed. And I want to say thank you for reading this book and thanks in advance for your reviews. And if you're listening to this via YouTube, please go and give me a like and a subscribe because it would help me wonderfully.